next on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
On this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, we speak with the highest-ranking firefighter to survive the 9/11 attacks. Plus, we'll hear how NCBA President Bill Donald is putting social media to work.
And now, NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. Topping this week's cattle industry news, one of the primary reasons cattlemen gather each winter for the annual meeting is to discuss, review, and approve their plan of action on the range of policy issues that impact the cattle industry. Illinois cattleman Steve Fogelsong wrapped up his term as the 2010 NCBA president, but Steve told us there's no shortage of issues in Washington, D.C. that continue to need the attention and hard work of NCBA and its members in 2011.
We've still got issues with GIPSA. That deal's not done. We're terribly pleased to see the Secretary going to go do a full-blown economic analysis, so that's going to be one of our issues. And the other one, we've still got a big issue, with overreach into some of the agencies, in particular EPA. They passed 1,500 regulations last year, and a lot of those have the potential to really get into the pockets of producers. The President came out and talked about reining in some of the regulations on businesses. We are a business, and we need to make sure that we've protected that, and we're going to hold him to that and have him make sure that they've taken a hard, long, scientific look at some of the regulations that are coming down at EPA and make sure that they don't affect the livelihood of America's producers.
From federal regulations to international trade to tax issues, NCBA is covering all the bases in Washington, D.C. for its members. Why not join in the fight and help make your voice heard on issues that impact your bottom line? Find out more about joining the National Cattlemen's Beef Association by calling 1-866-USA-BEEF or visiting the website at beefusa.org. The status of the U.S. cow herd, it's a hot topic these days. We have more in this week's Market Watch.
Market Watch.
Joining me in the studio is Todd Klaus, analyst with Cattle Facts. Welcome back to the show, Todd.
Thank you for having me.
Recently USDA released its report, and tell us what that meant to us, both in terms of cow numbers, but just in terms of U.S. cattle herd.
Sure, Kevin. The report, there wasn't too many surprises with the report. USDA confirmed that the cattle supplies are continuing to shrink. In terms of the total cattle inventory, it was down about 1.3 million head and totaled 92.6 million on January 1. This is actually the smallest total cattle inventory since 1958. On the beef cow side, the beef herd was actually down about 500,000 head, which was largely in line with what was expected, given what we know with the current market situation. We continue to see strong demand for the lean grinding beef as consumers have continued to trade down. At the same time, you've had smaller imports for 2010. These two variables, when you combine them, resulted in record high cull cow prices for the year. As producers see that, they continue to liquidate and reduce their cow herd size. We continue to see smaller cow herd. At the same time, beef cow slaughter levels were actually 9% higher for the year. And until we see this change, we'll likely see a smaller cow herd again on 2012.
It's a bad time to be an open, fat cow, isn't it?
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about this. What did it mean in terms of feeder calf numbers, and what is your assessment there?
So when we look at our current supply with our feeder and calf supply, the two things I kind of look at are what was our calf crop for 2010 and how many cattle did we place in the yards in the second half of last year. The calf crop for 2010 was down 250,000 head. At the same time, we actually placed a significantly larger number of cattle in the second half of the year. So what this has done is it's created a smaller feeder and calf supply that are still outside of the feed yards. Actually down about 900,000 head on January 1. And when you think about how many cattle were placed into those yards in the second half of the year, our cattle on feed number was almost 6% higher than a year ago as of January 1. So our total supply for the first half of the year is actually very ample in terms of fed cattle supply. The second half of the year is really where we're going to see a bigger question mark. With that many fewer cattle outside of the feed yards to be placed yet, we expect to see significantly smaller fed cattle supplies in the second half of the year.
And so as you think about this information and analyze it, what does it mean in terms of beef cow herd expansion?
Well, Kevin, from what the report indicated, we actually saw a 300,000 head decline in the number of beef replacement heifers. And on a percentage basis, this is a pretty big decline. However, since the first of the year, we have seen a decline in the beef cow slaughter levels. In January, we also saw a smaller percentage of heifers being placed on feed. Now, 1 month doesn't make a trend, so we're going to continue to monitor these numbers very closely over the next several months to see if they continue. But they do indicate that we may be on that track. I think it's also important to keep in mind just how much the cost side has increased for cow-calf producers over the past 5 years. They've basically steadily increased every single year, while at the same time calf prices have continued to decline up until last year. As calf prices have continued to rebound, we think they're going to have to continue to move higher in order to get producers overly excited or very excited about expanding their herds over the next couple of years.
Well, thank you for your insight, and please keep us posted as you learn more.
Thank you.
For more information and expert analysis, visit cattlefacts.com. So what's ahead in 2011? That's a hot topic of conversation in the country these days. We had a chance to ask cattlemen their opinions about their concerns for the year ahead.
You know, right now the weather at home is not so good, so that could be a challenge. You've got a lot of regulatory things that are coming, perhaps. You've got some market fluctuation. You know, the cattle market's good, but, you know, we got to move our product through the store. And so those folks at home got to have money in their pockets to buy that or feel comfortable with buying the product at the price it is in the store. So those are issues. And then you've always got those folks that don't think we know what we're doing or do it correctly and are destroying the world in the process. And, you know, that is becoming a more defining issue, I think, because we can prove that we're green. We work with a renewable resource, whether it's the cows themselves or the grass on the land. You know, you have to protect that resource either way, and if we don't do our job right, you know what, we're not in business.
We need to work together. We need to stand proud for our technology, for the way that we handle our animals, for the pride and the care that we offer to those animals. We need to reach out to the consumer, share our story, talk about what we do every day, talk about the morning when it's -20 below and you go out to do chores before the sun even comes up, and share the stories that we have and share our families and our lives so that consumers can continue to trust in the products that we're making.
I see some great opportunities. We have low cow numbers, great demand for our product, both domestic and international, so there's really good profit potential. But we're also seeing some challenges with increasing corn costs, increasing fuel costs, rising input costs as well. So there are challenges associated both ways.
It's the environment that we're asked to operate in as cattlemen and beef producers. We've got multiple issues. The biggest, I think, is to educate the public and the world about what we do, why we do it, and how we do it, so they can see what an important product we are raising for the public.
Well, I think there's a lot of things to look forward to actually in agriculture. The way that we've got young people being excited about what we're doing, the prices that the industry's seeing, I don't see challenges, I see excitement. Although I do think that we need to spend more time advocating about what we do and definitely going out there to tell our story to consumers.
Well, obviously trying to make some money with high price feeders and high price corn. So that's going to be a challenge to trying to make money, I guess.
You know, with the market the way it is right now, position ourselves to not lose that market, either through hedges or puts, calls, whatever we have to do. And I know there's challenges from USDA right now, or I guess it's GIPSA, on some of their rulings that could put a crimp in our ability to do that. You've got to protect yourself.
Keep the conversation going. Keep up with our show on Twitter by searching NCBA C2C and on Facebook by searching NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
One of my major themes is you have to put priorities on your life. And when things are going good, you kind of get your priorities mixed up. It's during tragedy or during bad times that your priorities become very focused.
We hear from Richard Picciotto, the highest-ranking firefighter to survive the 9/11 attacks. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're watching NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman on RFD TV. Join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. NCBA is the premier cattle industry organization representing your best interests in Washington, D.C. and across the country.
I want to have my voice heard, and this is the strongest way I can speak it is through NCBA, and my little voice gets a lot of magnitude with this group.
Well, I've been an NCBA member for a long time. My family thoroughly believes in giving back to the industry that they make a living from, and I've carried that on from generation to generation, and this is the organization of choice for the beef industry.
Every day, NCBA works to represent you on issues including trade, taxes, food safety and nutrition, animal welfare, and the environment.
The main reason I'm an NCBA member is to become engaged and more knowledgeable about everything that's going on in the beef industry.
It's easy to join NCBA. Just visit beefusa.org or call us at 1-866-USA-BEEF.
These days, more cattlemen choose Draxxin to fight BRD than any other brand. Here's why.
It works. We have fewer repulls, and the ones that we do repull respond, and we have fewer chronics in the end.
To retreat anything it's a lot more expensive than using Draxxin as a first time.
And the evidence backs up what most cattlemen already know. Draxxin cuts retreats by 50%. So talk to your veterinarian and check the online calculator at Draxxin.com. You'll see why Draxxin should be your first choice to fight BRD.
Basically what it's allowed us to do with our operation is run more cattle through in a given period of time. It's just really been a good product to use.
Do not use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older. Do not use in calves to be processed for veal. Draxxin has a pre-slaughter withdrawal time of 18 days. Please visit Draxxin.com or call 1-888-DRAXXIN for more information.
The events of 9/11 will be with us forever. The man who is the highest-ranking firefighter to survive the attacks recently spoke at the Cattle Industry Annual Convention. Reporter Marvin Kokash had a chance to catch up with him while he was in Denver.
Marvin Kokash here at the opening general session of the Cattle Industry Convention and Trade Show. I'm here today with Richard Picciotto, the opening general session speaker. Richard, tell us a little bit about your story and what you're about to share with cattlemen.
Hi, Marvin. Well, I was a New York City battalion chief on September 11th, and I have an amazing story. I was actually in the building when the building collapsed, and I was buried for approximately 5 hours. So I'm going to relay the story of that to the members, and also some insights on what changed that life, how it changed me, how it changed the country.
Briefly tell me how some of these things did change your life.
Well, I appreciate life more. I think anytime anyone goes through a tragedy, they get a new understanding and a newfound gift, a gift that they have another day, another week, month, years, or whatever. And you have to embrace that, and that's what I try to tell the people. One of my major themes is you have to put priorities on your life. And when things are going good, you kind of get your priorities mixed up. It's during tragedy or during bad times that your priorities become very focused. And so I'm going to try to bring that out also.
I know the service of firefighters across this country are greatly appreciated, Richard, and I'm sure there's been just a lot of activity around your department. Tell me a little bit about how things have changed in your department.
Unfortunately, like most fire departments, like most government agencies, we had to have cutbacks. We lost manning. We had to close companies. Technology helps us. We used the latest technology to help fight fires, but it's still a labor-intensive type of job. And, we try to do more with less, which a lot of people try to do. I think the biggest asset we have is our members. The firemen are tremendously motivated, dedicated to what they do, and that shows in doing their job.
Richard, today you're going to have the opportunity to speak to around 3,000 to 4,000 cattlemen. Tell me a little bit about how your story will connect with the things that cattle producers are experiencing every day.
Well, I think that the cattlemen, they work hard. They work hard. They enjoy what they do. They know they're making a difference, and that's what firemen do. We work hard, we enjoy what we do, and we know we're making a difference. If the general public knows it or not, it really doesn't matter. We hope they do, and the cattlemen hope that the public understands what they're doing to feed this country. But I think the self-gratification getting out of knowing that you're doing a good job is more than enough. And I think that's true for most firemen also.
Yeah, one thing we talked about earlier, and it's a real thing in rural America, is the volunteer fire departments. So I know folks that are in our viewing audience, this is a part of their life as farmers and ranchers as well.
Yes. Actually, I'm retired from New York City Fire Department, a paid fire department, as you know. And I live upstate New York, where I lived for 35 years in a small rural country. And there's a volunteer department up there, and I'm one of the commissioners in the volunteer department. So I know the aspects of volunteer departments also. And I know how they also love what they do, and they enjoy helping their fellow man.
Great. Well, Richard, we really appreciate you being here and appreciate all you've done to protect and serve people. And Kevin, I'm going to kick it back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Picciotto, and thank you to all the men and women who protect our homes and communities every day. We'll be right back.
Join the folks at Whitestone Farm in Aldie, Virginia for their annual Angus Bull Sale, Saturday, March 26th. This is the place for the finest in premium Angus genetics, offering 90 yearling Angus bulls and 30 open Angus heifers. And Whitestone bulls are pasture performance tested.
We'd like to think that the quality that we have here is a culmination of 23 years of genetics that we put together that backs these bulls out of some of the greatest cows in the breed.
Beautiful Whitestone Farm is located just 20 miles west of Dulles Airport in Aldie, Virginia, and it's well worth the trip. This is where you'll find Angus genetics that pay. And with the right disposition, quality carcass traits, and more, Whitestone Angus bulls will work for you.
Our bulls are 100% guaranteed. And, here at Whitestone, we really pride ourselves in the customer service that we give our customers.
To find out more and request a sale book, call 703-327-4863 or visit the website whitestonefarm.com. Whitestone bulls don't cost, they pay.
You take pride in the beef you raise. Countless hours invested to assure a safe and wholesome calf crop. Why trust that calf crop to just anyone? Experience the new Dinklage difference. With a long history and reputation for outstanding performance and cattle care. We use a combination of cutting-edge technologies and data-driven decision-making to establish our place as leaders in the cattle feeding industry. Allow Dinklage to be a part of your team in the quest to maximize your profits. With 5 locations to serve you in Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado. For more information on the new Dinklage difference, stop by one of our yards or visit us on the web at dinklagefeedyards.com.
Welcome back. In western Kansas, one cow-calf operator is looking towards the future, both in terms of his herd and his marketing plan. Reporter Brian Baxter has more from Sharon Springs, Kansas.
This is called the Harrison Flats.
Mark Smith is always looking down the road, whether it's out his windshield.
Drive an average 200 miles a day, going to different properties.
Or forecasting his operations business plan.
Them cattle have done really well, Mark.
I'm able to take the information that I have and come up with a plan that balances my crops with my livestock operations, and I can integrate all that into a strategic plan that allows me to get the best return on my investment.
Mark is a third-generation rancher and second-generation president of the Kansas Livestock Association. In his leadership position, Mark helps other ranchers to grow their business.
We have to have an association like National Cattlemen's Beef Association and our state associations like Kansas Livestock Association that will enhance and provide a better business climate. And our number one goal for all of our associations is to increase consumer demand.
His motto is to always leave something better than he found it.
To be a good member of association, you need to make that association better. You need to make a difference, not for only what that association can do for you, but what you can do for your association.
His philosophy carries over to his ranch, where Mark is an avid conservationist.
We look at taking care of our land and raising a great quality food product for our consumers to eat, to go hand in hand.
Mark's goal is twofold. He strives to maximize the profits from his property while improving its environmental value.
So I'll stock my cattle, my grass early and intensive, market them in July, get off that grass for a few months. That allows me to have a better drought policy on my grass and have better root reserves so that I can drought-proof some of my grass.
For over 25 years, Mark has collaborated with the Natural Resources Conservation Service to develop plans for his ranch.
I want a very sustainable, environmentally sound land that I can make a living off of, that's pleasing to look at, and also has an abundant resource of wildlife.
We've implemented grazing systems on that ranch, put pipelines and tanks in. I believe we did some cross fencing up there, as well as a livestock windbreak for winter protection, and that was just under the first program.
Mark shares his conservation concepts on social media, another nod to his forward-thinking mindset. He documents life on a cattle ranch on his Facebook page.
So I've been able to take the two hobbies, passion of photography and my passion to be an advocate for our industry, and meld them together. Boy, there's a couple nice bucks with some big racks.
For Mark, taking care of his ranch and raising a great quality beef product for consumers is his life's work.
I want them to see the passion that we have for the land, passion we have for the cattle, passion we have for the environment, and how bringing safe, consistent supply of food to the American consumer is what we love to do.
You can check out Mark and his operation on Facebook. Just search for Pleasant Valley Ranch. As we've discussed, Bill Donald of the Cayuse Livestock Company in Melville, Montana, is a 2011 president of NCBA. He's a third-generation Montana cowboy, a grandfather, and he just happens to be the first NCBA president to make social media a part of his personal communication outreach activities. At the Cattle Industry Convention in Denver, we asked Bill about his use of Facebook.
I am the first NCBA president on Facebook. I'm a trendsetter, you might say. I absolutely think it's important. You know, I'm a graduate of the MBA program, Master Beef Advocacy. I think it's really important that as producers, we get to know the messages that we need to get out to people. So when we're in a grocery store or we're in a store and somebody brings up something that's not true, we can counter it with facts, and we have a great story to tell. We're great stewards of the land and great stewards of the animals. We create wealth for a hungry nation. So we really have a great story to tell. And Facebook is another tool to get that word out. So I think any way we can get it out, we ought to take advantage of it.
Bill Donald and many other beef producers have sharpened their Facebook skills and their use of social media to tell the real story of modern beef production with help from the Masters of Beef Advocacy program. And joining me in the studio today is Darren Williams, the Dean of Students for the MBA program. Thanks for coming to the show, Darren.
Thank you, Kevin.
Well, first of all, tell folks a little bit about what the MBA program is.
Well, the Masters of Beef Advocacy program is it's a series of online courses that beef producers and others in the beef community can go through to sharpen their skills to get out and tell the story of modern beef production. Where does food come from? Where does beef come from today?
And let's talk social media. You know, Bill Donald's using it, Mark Smith's using it. Tell us a little bit about your perspective of social media and its role.
Well, social media, Facebook, Twitter, these are not just for kids anymore, clearly with Bill and Mark being involved. But these are very effective communications tools that we have to communicate with each other and to communicate with our consumer. And for example, you know, if you're an NCBA member, you can become a Facebook friend with Bill Donald, and you can tell him directly through his Facebook page what you think he ought to be doing.
Well, great way to connect, yeah.
And Mark Smith, Mark is reaching out to consumers across the country, sharing pictures of his ranch through his Facebook page and just giving them a glimpse of what life is like on the ranch every day, because of course consumers are very disconnected from the farm and ranch, and that leads to questions about their beef, where it comes from, who's raising it, are the cattle being treated properly, and Mark's doing a great job of answering those questions. We want consumers, when they have questions about beef, Don't ask Google, ask a farmer or rancher.
That's a great point. And speaking of that, there's a lot of ways that people can get involved through NCBA with social media. Is that right?
Well, absolutely. We have NCBA's consumer marketing team, for example, is reaching out to consumers through our Beef It's What's for Dinner website is the #1 site for beef information for consumers, but we now have a Beef It's What's for Dinner Facebook page, Twitter handle, and Beef for Dinner mobile, which a consumer can get recipes right on their phone as they're in the grocery store, looking at which cut to pick out and serve for dinner that night. And for members, for beef producers out there, you can get up-to-date information on what's happening inside the Beltway on Beltway Beef. We have a blog, we have a Facebook page, and a Twitter handle that is telling them what's going on with international trade, federal regulations affecting beef producers, and tax issues, of course, all the important issues affecting farmers and ranchers.
So if a beef producer is sitting at home, they have a computer or they've got a smartphone, what would you tell them to do?
I'd say first just get on and sign on to Facebook or Twitter and have some fun. Okay. You can't break the internet, so get out there and try it and play around with it, see what fits your style and find your niche and find a way, either reach out to consumers or reach out to other farmers and ranchers and get involved.
I'm still learning myself, but my daughter is a pro, Darren, so she's teaching me a lot.
Well, you can take lessons from your kids. Ask your kids for help.
For more information on social media and to learn how to get your Masters of Beef Advocacy, visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. We'll be right back.
You can tell a lot about a cattleman by his cattle. Purina AccuRation feed with intake modifying technology gives cattle that uniform muscular look. It maximizes forage utilization and controls intake based on forage quality and cattle needs. It reduces labor, saves time, and helps cattle perform to their highest genetic potential, boosting your net return. Available in AccuRation Cattle Limiter, Super Lick, Super Block, and Impact Starter. AccuRation feeds from Purina Mills, building better cattle.
Like you, Behringer Ingelheim Vetmedica Incorporated knows the territory. With over 30 years' experience, you can rest assured that when you work with us, we work for you. We have an extensive line of vaccines and parasite control products for beef cattle and offer professional support in the field. We're continually bringing you innovative animal health solutions to help you build the most profitable beef operation possible. Behringer Ingelheim. When it comes to your herd, we've got your back.
Quality matters to me because I'm responsible for the care and preserving the health of cattle every day. Healthy cattle are the key to safe and wholesome beef. As a vet, I work hard to look out for the well-being of the cattle, no matter the time of day, no matter the weather. I'm here for the animals, and my work matters when it comes to the safety of the beef Americans eat. I'm proud of what we'll do here today.
You like the John Deere 568 round baler for everything it has. Now, you'll like it even more for what it doesn't. Get rid of the twine tie system and run a 568 with nothing but net. That's right, nothing but easy loading, fast wrapping, bale protecting, cover edge net wrap. Put one to work in your field. See your John Deere dealer today.
Win a Ford pickup or other great prizes during the Green Fever sweepstakes. See your John Deere dealer for details.
We're here with a headline entertainer of the
American icon, the voice of a new generation.
Of the 2011 Cattle Industry Annual Convention at NCBA Trade Show. You know him. His name's Larry the Cable Guy.
That's right. And let me say, I got a birthday coming up, and people go, "How old is you?" And I say, "I'm almost 48." Now, do I look 48?
Not at all.
I do not. And let me tell you, do you know how I stay so young?
No.
I read at a third grade level.
That's impressive. Now, a lot of people don't know that you do come from Nebraska, not the deep south, and you do have some agricultural roots. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I do. I grew up on a pig farm in southeast Nebraska. We had hogs. Well, that's what I did. I did all the hogging. But we had, back in the day, back in the 70s, you had a little bit of everything. But I had a ton of hogs, but a little bit of cattle.
Yeah.
14 registered paint horses.
14? What do you do with 14 paint horses?
Ride them. What do you think we do with them?
Not 14 at a time.
No, but we used to ride every Sunday. When I was a kid, we'd all saddle up the horses after church and go riding. We had two properties. We had one right at the outskirts of town. That was 180, I think, and then we had about 380, 400 acres about 3.5 miles away. So we'd saddle up and take the horses up there, have a little picnic, fish in a pond, and ride back to the house. But yeah, I grew up on a farm, but I did the pigs. So I had, I had 600-700 head.
This deal working out a little better than the hog business for you?
Yeah, he didn't make a lot on that, but hey, back when I was doing it, I was just a kid, so I thought I was doing pretty good. And then it got in the 80s when you couldn't give them away. You know, I guess it's getting a little better now, but you know, we talking cattle now, ain't we?
We are talking cattle now, and I wanted to ask you, do I understand that you have a connection to a sale barn there? Tell us about that.
Well, look, I grew up next to a cattle barn, and I love it. Matter of fact, in my new show, Only in America with Larry the Cable Guy on history, that's one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to go to a cattle barn and show people how I grew up. Because a lot of people don't know anything about cattle barns, but I grew up next to a cattle barn. And so when I split time, I lived 5 months a year in Nebraska and 7 months a year in Florida. Guess which months I live in Florida. And well, I bought into some shares at the Beatrice 77 livestock market. And my wife said to me, she goes, "Why'd you do that? You ain't gonna make no money doing that." And I said, "Well, you never know. You might make a little money, but this way I can go down there and I can load cattle trucks, and they can't tell me to get the hell off the docks." I always wanted to do that, and everybody go, "Get out of here! You don't want to get the hell off here." But if I own part of it, they can't say nothing.
Well, let's talk about not the ag business, but your entertainment business. You have a new show coming up called Only in America. Tell us about that.
Only in America with Larry the Cable Guy is on history, and it celebrates the culture of the United States of America, which I believe is the greatest country in the world. And that's basically what it is. It's a good feel-good story. You know, you watch the news nowadays, and it's all bad news, and people are down on the country, and you can't have American exceptionalism anymore because it's not fair to other countries. And I say, I don't give a damn. We're the greatest country in the world. If we wasn't, people wouldn't be dying to get over here. And so I want to cover why we're the greatest country in the world and cover our culture. And it's a good show, Only in America. And I cover everything. I mean, I go all the way from Mule Days in Columbia, Tennessee, to Ely, Minnesota, to a town of one in Monterey, Nebraska, all the way out to San Francisco, New York. I launched jets off the USS Nimitz. I ride with the Marine Corps in an assault vehicle.
You launching jets, that's a little frightening.
A little scary, but there was somebody helping me out, so we're all right. But so I did a ton of stuff, and I learned a lot, and you know, it's a good history lesson with a little bit of humor in it. So I think people will like it. And Hold on, I'm not done talking. And then, no, I'm done. All right.
tell me about your new Cars TV show. My little boy loves cars.
Well, Cars movie comes out June 24th. It's another Pixar deal. We did Cars 1 in 2006. This is the sequel, Cars 2, June 24th, and man, it's great. I mean, the first one was real good. You think that one was good? This one's real good. And I did a thing called Mater Tales on ABC Family. Mater was in all kinds of situations. He was a bullfighter. He was a stunt driver. And we did 12 of those. This is almost like one big, long Mater Tale. And it's action-packed. I think you only have to say one thing about it. It's directed by John Lasseter, who is probably the greatest director of all time as far as Pixar movies go. So it'll be another good. And also, I got a movie that I'd like to plug coming out called Sleeveless in Seattle. It's a love story. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not thinking we're going to that one.
No, that one I'm kidding.
But hey, here's a question. You know, there's a lot of people that had to stay home during a convention to break ice, chop ice, keep water running, calve cows. What would you say to those people that are sitting out there in the cold country US of A?
Well, you're going to miss a heck of a show tonight, I'll tell you that much. That's what I feel bad about. They're not going to be able to enjoy the festivities, but, you know, you don't want to get out on them roads.
How cold was it in Nebraska?
Well, I mean, look, you know, here's what I say about the cold weather. For all the people, like I just come from New York, and it's like, oh, the snow, and it's, oh, I can't believe how cold it is. It's February. It's the wintertime. It snows in February. And you know what's going to happen in June? Hot. Oh, it's going to be hot. People are going to be complaining about how hot it is. And then winter come again in January, February, do the same thing. Oh, my Lord, the world's coming to an end. It's snowing. No, it's not. It's February. You know, now if it was like this outside in July, you got a news story. You know,
and you can watch Larry the Cable Guy on the Weather Channel, too, I'm figuring out, all right?
Well, just get you irritated. It's wintertime, for God's sake.
You know,
can I say this, too?
Yes.
Before, I don't want you to cut me off. My wife, this is my tie to the cattle industry. Okay. My wife is from Wisconsin. She grew up in a town of 45, and she is a grade A bona fide cowgirl. She grew up on a 3,000-acre Black Angus cattle ranch up in northern Wisconsin. They calved out about 420 head a year. And so
I've heard you
knows
can
everything about all that.
I've heard you can marry more in 2 minutes than you can make in a lifetime. It sounds that's what you did, huh?
Well, she ain't got a lot of money. But
And one last thing, give us your best get her done for the United States cattlemen.
oh, good Lord. For all the cattlemen out there, I love you, and get her done.
Larry the Cable Guy, and we'll be back after this.
Consumers count on America's cattlemen to deliver quality beef every time. So in your daily work to raise cattle, keep quality top of mind in everything you do, in the care, feeding, and handling of your animals. You can be a part of a national program that provides sound, proven guidelines for beef cattle production that will establish you as a leader and responsible stockman. Beef Quality Assurance, or BQA, is a national program funded by the Beef Checkoff that can help you strengthen your operation, improve cattle care, drive more value to the bottom line, and increase consumer confidence in the quality of America's beef. Producers across the nation have embraced the BQA program because of their commitment to be the world's best producers of beef, and because assuring beef quality is our job, not someone else's. Find out how you can become BQA certified. Visit the website bqa.org.
Tough trailers built for tough country. Big Ben Trailers manufactures a different kind of trailer, one that's built to put up with the rough conditions found on the ranch. Rugged build using heavy-gauge powder-coated steel and a 2x4 rectangle tube frame. There's a 1-inch gap between the side and floor, so there's no place for water or manure to accumulate and rust. Big Ben trailers are loaded with standard features: a lever-action hitch, a 3-foot escape gate, and a middle sorting gate, rhino lining along the front edges, and a receiver hitch to tow another trailer, chute, or other equipment. Tough and practical. That's Big Ben Trailers, designed and built by a working cattleman. You can rely on and trust Big Ben Trailers for their durability and convenient features. Reasonably priced for any rancher to afford. For a list of dealers and other design features, visit BigBenTrailers.com. Big Ben Trailers, built cattlemen tough.
There's nothing better than a hot bowl of chili after a long, hard day outside. And this week, we have some easy chili recipes for you. Joining me in the studio is Chef Shanoa French from the Chekhov-funded Beef Culinary Innovation Center at the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Thanks so much for coming back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You know, it looks like you outdid yourself this time. I thought it was just one recipe. You've got all kinds of bowls sitting here.
Well, it's our recipe. It's called Beef Chili 5 Ways, and you start with one quick base recipe, and then with 2 simple ingredients, you can create all these other 4 variations.
And these are the only recipes in the base?
Yep, these are the simple 5 ingredients that you need for the base. So February is National Chili Month, so we're going to talk through that real quick. Everybody has ground beef in their freezer. This is a chili grind. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can do that. It's a pound, is all you need.
Pound of ground beef.
Yep. And then it's a simple can of diced tomatoes with chilies. So that gives you a little bit of heat, a little bit of flavor.
Yep.
And then it's a can of black beans.
Black beans,
yep. Make sure you drain them and rinse them, otherwise there's a little film on them. So
get
rid of all that. Just one can. Can of beef broth.
Really?
Yeah, you can either do a base and then add water, or you can just buy a low sodium can if you want to.
Outstanding. And of course, chili powder,
And then, yep, our other ingredient is your simple chili powder.
How much?
It's a tablespoon. So you'll start brown your ground beef, add the cans of everything, put a lid on it, let it simmer for 20 minutes.
That's all?
Easy. 20 minutes, you have dinner. So this can be a quick evening meal as well.
Wow.
And this is your base. So you can serve it with some nice crusty bread if you want to put just a little bit of sour cream or a little bit of cheese, whatever you want for your chili. There you go.
Tortillas, whatever you want.
Yep. So that's the first one.
Okay.
So the second one, this is a Moroccan style.
Okay.
Yeah. So after you've added your chili powder, you're going to add a couple diced dates.
All right.
Make sure they're pitted. You don't want to bite them. Or you can use golden raisins. Both of those, they add a little bit of sweetness to them.
Okay.
So that, and then a little bit of pumpkin pie spice.
Really?
It's the same,
In chili?
Chili gives you that nice, sweet, rounded flavor. If you like to substitute beans in this recipe, you can do garbanzo beans instead of the black beans. But we've plated this here on a nice bed of couscous, a little bit of Greek yogurt, and some sliced almonds.
I have to tell you, we don't have couscous and Greek yogurt in our kitchen, but maybe we could buy it, huh?
You know, for this one, you could try it.
Okay.
Something different.
All right,
yeah.
good.
So that's number 2.
Very good. Number 3 coming up.
Number 3, we're
going
to move back over here. This you might have.
Yes.
This is our Mexican version.
Very good.
Have you ever had Mexican mole before?
No, I don't think so.
So it's your traditional sauce that's done in a lot of Mexican restaurants, and it's unsweetened cocoa powder. Gives it just a little bit different flavor.
Really?
They talk about Mexican chocolate, and it's not as sweet as most people in America are used to. So again, a tablespoon of this goes into at step 2. Let it simmer. And then this one, we didn't put it on anything. We added some corn tortilla chips on the side, a little bit of cilantro.
What are those other?
These are pepitas, and they're actually pumpkin seeds. So
really?
Yeah, you know how you'd crack a sunflower seed?
Oh, yeah.
This is like the inside of a sunflower seed.
And you just buy them that way?
You can buy them that way, yep. And any, you do probably need to go to like the Hispanic aisle in the grocery store, but you can get them at any grocery store.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Number 3.
Number 3. This is what we call Cincinnati style.
All right.
Into step 2 in the ingredient list, you add a little bit of white vinegar. So a little liquid there. And then this is cinnamon.
Oh, really?
So yeah, a little bit of, again, that sweetness like we added pumpkin pie spice last time. Gives you a little different flavor. Anywhere that you go in Cincinnati, Ohio, you can find their pastas.
Sure. Spaghetti sometimes.
Yep, and it's kind of a chili spaghetti. This, we've done elbow macaroni noodles, a little bit of the chili, and then we've done just your standard white onions, sour cream, and a little bit of cheddar cheese.
That looks good.
So, yeah. Simple.
And then the fourth one.
The fourth and final one that we have here for you. This is actually my favorite.
Okay.
This is what we called an Italian chili.
All right.
So again, into step 2, after you've done that, before you simmer, you add a little bit of fennel. And this is the ingredient that is most commonly picked up in any Italian sausage. So you'll see that little shape. Sometimes they grind them, but it gives you a real nice sausage flavor.
Oh, neat.
So a tablespoon of that into the chili, let it simmer. Go ahead and do your pasta right before you're ready to eat. You go ahead and mix in 3 cups of spinach. This can be another way to get your kids to eat spinach if they won't. It wilts down, so you don't want to do it too early because it will turn like a brownish greenish. But if you toss it in, what I usually will do is turn off the stove right before and then stir it in and let it sit, and then go ahead and start plating here. These this is little, they're called orchetta. Oh, it's little ears pasta. They have little scoops, as you can see in there.
You can put any kind of pasta
you could do any type that you want, but this is what we've chose. And then you top it with a little bit of pine nuts and some shaved parm. And so it's a total different profile for you.
That's great.
But yeah, so all of these are on the web. You can do the base chili and leave it in the freezer. Just make sure the most important thing, in order to bring out all the ingredient flavors, you need to cook it. So if you do the base and leave it in the freezer, you bring it back out, thaw it out, make sure you add them and then at least cook for 20 minutes. By heating your spices, you bring out the flavor and let everything cook together.
Very good. Well, I've got to try one of these, you know, if I can, real quickly here.
Take a little bite.
That's great.
A little Italian chili, right?
I love it. and on the 6th day, I assume you just throw them all together and have a round the world chili.
I guess you could. That would be an interesting combination.
Thank you so much. This is delicious. For this and other great beef recipes, visit our website at cattlemanandcattlemen.org.
Quality matters to me because I'm responsible for managing the natural resources under my care, providing clean water and healthy feed, and creating an environment that fosters new life. I care for mother cows and newborn calves, nurturing them through the beginning of the life cycle. The entire beef industry is relying on me to provide a quality product they can work with. This is the beginning of the American beef industry. I'm proud of what we'll do here today.
From California to Florida, NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman covers the beef industry. Each week, join host Kevin Oxner as he interviews industry leaders about the topics that matter most to you.
When we think about that impact in our industry, it starts with looking at that picture of beef demand.
NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, a television show by cattlemen for cattlemen, Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on RFD TV or anytime at cattlemantocattleman.org.
All I want for Christmas is whatever you can leave, but I'd settle for a new wife who would stay through New Year's Eve.
here, it's that rare combination of reliability, integrity, and the peace of mind that comes with having both. After 20 years of making hitches, the B&W turnover ball has become the most trusted gooseneck hitch in the country. Why is that important? Because trust is not only hard to earn, it's hard to find. The turnover ball gooseneck hitch by B&W. Trusted.
Once upon a time, at the start of all creation, angels sat upon a cloud, an odd conglomeration of buckaroos from near and far, but not there from the city. Their job? To build a brand new beast. They were the Cow Committee. Now me, I'd like some floppy ears, suggested Texas Jake. Well, floppy ears would freeze plumb off on the powder of the snake. Up north we need some curly hair, said Colorado Bill. Hide that's tight and hair that's thick to ward against the chill. Hold your horses, one and all, said Omaha Eugene. Nebraska needs a fleshy cow, a real corn machine. Well, she'd waste away, cried Tucson Bob. What we need's a hump, one who'll live on tumbleweeds and run from clump to clump. Well, how about horns, said Oakdale Pete. Don't need 'em in Des Moines. So they made some with, and some without, and some with tenderloins, and some with sheaths that drag the grass, and some so dadgum tall, to hear her calf down on the ground, she'd have to place a call. I'd like 'em roan, said Shorthorn Mike. No, black, said Angus Tink. White or red, said Hereford Hank. I'd even take 'em pink. Whatever suits you, ticos me, said Juan from Mexico. I second that, said Crossbred Jack. Just make 'em so they grow. So they made some white, and they made some blue, and they made some orange and spotted. They never made a green one, but they made 'em tall and squatted in every shape and every size, but no one had decided how to make the perfect cow. On that, they were divided. And this went on for days and days. In fact, it never ended. Each time they'd reach some middle ground, the project was amended, and they still meet from time to time and argue with their leaders. The Cow Committee carries on. They're now the purebred breeders. This is Baxter Black from out there.
And God bless that Cow Committee. Thank you, Baxter. We'll be right back.
Education, networking, opportunity, and fun. That's what you'll find at the 2012 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Nashville, Tennessee. Get your ticket to ride with your fellow cattlemen and women in the country music capital of the world. You'll find cutting-edge education, top-of-the-line technology, and entertainment that can't be beat. Don't miss your ticket to ride to the Cattle Industry Annual Convention and Trade Show in Nashville, Tennessee, February 1st through the 4th, 2012. For more information, visit beefusa.org. Comprehensive, practical, powerful. Now's the time to put the power of DNA to work in your herd with the comprehensive Identity Profile. The inside information from Identity can help you make more confident replacement heifer and herd sire selection decisions, add marketability to your feeder cattle, make faster genetic progress, and more. The best time to get started is when you're already working cattle, during branding, weaning, or bull soundness exams. Get started today. Visit iGenity.com or call 1-877-IGENITY to put the power of DNA to work in your herd.
Welcome back. In honor of our newly elected NCBA President Bill Donald, we thought we'd feature him and his family in this week's Legacy Photos. Let's take a look. Send us your photos. To do so, visit us at cattlemantocattleman.org. Next week, we'll have tips on preventing clostridial disease on your operation. Plus, we talk to Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper and our good friend Baxter Black. Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. We'll see you back here next week on RFD TV.